Hey, we're Mika and Joe, a married couple from South Jersey, showing you the real side of travel. From Iceland to the UAE, we break down every detail, planning, budgets, and what it actually costs. No hype, no BS, just honest, transparent travel. Follow us at MJ Travels 856 and travel smarter with us. Thank you for watching. All right, welcome back to MJ Travels. This is Joe and Mika again. We're going to go over our 10-night Grecian or Greek, how do you say that? Grecian cruise? Or Greek cruise out of Athens. Visited, obviously, Athens, Crete, Ephesus, Turkey, then Istanbul, overnight, Rhodes, Santorini, Mykonos, and then back to Athens to finish. But
if you're looking for Crete on the tour, the celebrity itinerary, it wasn't actually supposed to be Crete. The original was Volos. I don't know why they changed it. It's changed. We ended up in Crete. But either way, it was just a hangout day. So
yeah, they let us know months ahead of time.
Oh yes,
that
yes.
They weren't going to Volos. They say, hey, we're going to Crete, and if you want to cancel, blah blah blah. But yeah, it was a 10-night cruise out of Athens on board the Celebrity Infinity. Initial reaction, seeing the Infinity again 25 years later. This ship felt really kind of small and quaint to me this time, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Actually, I probably prefer smaller cruise ships to the larger ones. There's pluses and minuses that come with each. But overall, I really like this ship. I would definitely go on it again. It is a little bit older, and if you're a frequent cruiser, it probably doesn't have all of the amenities, I think, that you're used to, especially if you're like a Disney Cruise Lines person on one of their newer ships, or if you're a Royal Caribbean, like Oasis
sliding boards.
Yeah, it doesn't have any of that. This is kind of like classic American cruising.
But the ship has been refurbished. It doesn't look like it's 100 years old. It looks nice.
Yeah, it's modern.
It's done nice.
It looks like it belongs in this era. It doesn't look like it's from the 90s or anything like that. All the interior spaces have been redecorated, redesigned. The Grand Foyer is not anything compared to some of these other places. It's kind of it's a more traditional, old school kind of cruising. If you've taken an Alaska cruise on one of those kinds of ships, it's very similar to what you get there, because again, there's restrictions. These new ships are gigantic and they just can't get into some of the ports. So when you're in Europe, or if you're going to a place like Alaska, you are probably going to be on a smaller cruise ship, because it's easier for them to get in and out of some of these older ports, especially in Greece and Alaska. It's kind of shallow, so they got to be able to get in and out of places and maneuver efficiently. Yeah. So again, if you're cruising in Europe, this is probably the route to go, because where you're going to dock is going to be right kind of in town. The ship, overall, the room was adequate. Completely fine. We stayed in an ocean view room where we had a window, like a little porthole. We didn't have a balcony or anything like that, and we didn't stay in an interior cabin. Not that I would ever not stay in an interior cabin, but I think Mika will not stay in an interior cabin, right?
No.
Why?
Because I'm claustrophobic and I can't do that.
Yeah, you got to be able to see the outside.
Yes, please.
Right?
Something has to be moving out there. And it's not a little portal. It's a big window they have in those, outside staterooms. So.
Yeah, you can pretty much sit in it, right?
I did sit in it.
Yeah, you can sit in it and read a book if you want, really. So it's not like it's like a tiny little, porthole or whatever. It's fairly substantial. You can see it, but it is always on a lower deck. It's like deck 2 or deck 3 is where we were. We were on deck 3. Another thing I would like to mention on Celebrity is it seems to be the clientele is older, right?
Yeah.
Like older than us even. We're not the youngest people on the ship, but when you travel Celebrity, especially in Europe, we were pretty much like some of the youngest people on the ship. There's a lot of retirees, and if you're looking for like a nightclub kind of atmosphere, and we didn't partake in any of that.
Well, it wasn't really a nightclub. They had the headphones where you put them on, and they had a little dance party in the Grand Foyer on one of the
The
balconies.
silent disco thing
Yeah,
that they
thank
do
you.
on
Yeah, there's not
Royal
going to be a big
ships.
nightclub. They do have the casino if you're interested.
They do have a nightclub on that ship. It's the what you call it? Where we went to? No, the place all the way up top where we did the bow and arrow shooting.
Yeah.
Remember that? That functions as their nightclub at night.
Okay.
It does. That's what they have.
I can't imagine or see any of those people in the nightclubs. A lot of them were bars and hanging out, but I mean, I didn't walk back there.
I'm sure it was empty because I think that place is open till 3 a.m. I think I saw it like it closes down at 3 a.m. And I'm sure there were people up there, but there probably weren't many of them on this cruise anyway. Like embarkation went really, really smooth, right?
It's it. You know, you get a time, and you show up at your set time, and it's pretty smooth. They let you right on.
Yeah, and I know that it's different in other ports. Some are more organized than others, and I didn't know what to expect here in Athens, but pleasantly surprised. We showed up via cab, like we took a cab from our hotel to the port where we were getting on the ship. So the porter took our bag, and you know, we got right on the ship. We showed up maybe 15 minutes before our time to get on, and we pretty much walked right on the ship. And no issues, security screening obviously like normal. And when you follow that and they, you know, stagger it, like people are getting on the ship at 10, 12, 2, whatever it is. If you follow that when you show up, the idea is for them to have your room ready. And when we got on the ship this time, our room was ready. We were able to put our bags in our room and then go explore the ship. It seems like they've gone away from the when you go to check in, you go to a desk or whatever, and then they take your picture, and then you put a credit card on file. You do all that like ahead of time now.
Yeah.
So when you just kind of show up, they verify who you are, and then they give you your stateroom cards, right?
No, stateroom cards were in the door.
They were in the door. Yeah, stateroom cards were in the door. They just verified that you are who you are, and you're able to get on the ship. And any excursions that you book, all that's going to be in an envelope on your nightstand or on your bed or wherever they decide to put it. There's a desk in every room. So, but yeah, the rooms have, you know, they have TV, they have a little refrigerator that doesn't work so great, which, you know, maybe they could do a better job with that. I think it doesn't keep things too cold.
I don't know. We got water.
Didn't keep them real cold. It was colder than like room temperature, but it wasn't necessarily cold. You know, yeah, just a shower. You know, normal bathroom, kind of small. You're on a cruise ship, unless you're staying in like a suite or whatever. That, you know, it was pretty much what to expect. So I think the first thing we did when we got on the ship was we went to the buffet because it was around lunchtime, so it was time to eat. And again, it's not the Windjammer, it's the
Ocean
View Cafe.
Yeah, I kept trying to call it the Windjammer.
Mika was calling it the Windjammer the whole cruise, the Windjammer. Yeah, we go to the Ocean View Cafe for our first lunch on the ship. And again, it's buffet. If you've been on a Royal Caribbean property ship, it's the same pretty much as you're going to get. There's going to be some good stuff, and there's going to be some stuff that you're going to raise your eyebrows at. So overall, though, you're not going to go hungry. You're going to find something to eat, and it's going to be, at the very least, good. Right?
Yeah. I mean,
It's
at the
not-
Mexican station, they had something called pulled turkey. I've heard of pulled pork. I've heard of pulled
chicken.
I've never heard of pulled turkey before in my life.
Never.
But, you know,
They
it was
all-
an offering.
They also had something called turkey parmesan, which was a little strange. Some of the stuff is a little weird, but you will find stuff usually, and it's weird because the Ocean View Cafe, especially for breakfast, everybody wants, like, you're on vacation, you want to eat like pancakes and waffles and stuff like that. If you're looking for that in the Ocean View, at least on the Infinity, it's not on the main sides. There's two sides. It's in the very back. So you have to go all the way to the back, and that's where you can get your pancakes and your waffles and your bacon.
'Cause I kept seeing good stuff on people's plates, and I'm like, why can't I find this? But you actually have to walk the whole buffet. Even if you pass something twice, just keep going and walk the whole thing, because there's the make your own omelet stations. There's one hidden back there. I mean, and there's no line. So you gotta walk the whole thing.
But if you're looking for like at lunchtime hot dogs, hamburgers, pizza, that stuff's kind of all past that. So just walk past. Both sides are exactly the same, but toward the back of the Ocean View is where they have like their pizza station and the place where they have the more, I guess, Americanized food, like waffles and pancakes for breakfast and lunch, again, hamburgers and hot dogs. Not sure what they have for dinner. We didn't go there for dinner. One thing I will say, like, the place fills up really fast. Sometimes it's really hard to find a seat, and that isn't 100% just on the cruise line. The biggest problem with that is people just chilling and hanging out.
Yeah, it's not the cruise line at all.
Yeah.
It's people that need to sit there and read their entire, newspaper on their phone before they get up. And, there are other places on the ship for that. Go to one of those other places. You can sit, you can chill, you can have your coffee, tea, hell, you can have a martini in the middle of the day. But eat your breakfast and then move on. So other people that are coming in can sit and eat their food too. It's just rude.
Yeah, just groups of 6, 8, even like 10 people taking up like entire booth kind of 3-table things, just sitting there with their feet up and just chit chatting, sipping on cups of coffee. I know everybody's on vacation, I know everybody, but it's just a lack of courtesy. I mean, you see what's going on, you see the place is full, and there's like 6, 7, 8 of you guys just sitting there. Nobody's eating, you're drinking coffee. You can go do that on the pool deck, you can go do that in any of the other public areas. But people want to sit down, have their breakfast, and then go on about their day. You just see people standing there holding plates looking around because there's nowhere to sit. One thing a cruise line could do is be a little bit more proactive with that. They're never going to go in and be like, hey, you guys got to go. But what they can do is maybe post signs and say, if you're done eating, during these hours, because again, if you go right when the place opens or right at the end, toward the end, last half hour or so of service, you're going to be able to find seats, no problem. But if you're in the bulk time, like most of the excursions leave 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. So on a port day, from about 6:30 until probably 8 o'clock, that place is full. So it's just a lack of self-awareness, I think, from other passengers that just chill in the buffet during the busy times. Now, again, someone's going to say, well, we don't have to do that. You're right. You don't have to do that. You're allowed to be an asshole. But, try to be considerate. Like, people want to enjoy their vacation just like you do. And, if you can go hang out in one of the bars or the other public areas, because if you're just drinking coffee, you can get coffee anywhere on the ship. Anywhere where there's a bar, you can get a cup of coffee. So just be more considerate. That's my gripe about the Ocean View. So yeah, main dining room is called the Trellis Restaurant, and it's divided into 2 different seatings. Was it?
Oh yeah, 2 floors.
It's a couple different floors. I think it might be 3 floors, but
well, it's 2 floors. The bottom floor is the My Time, and then
you
the
just show up.
top floor are the people that have the
reservations, which is what we always do. So you can do My Time dining, which is you go to the bottom floor of the restaurant, you just show up, and it's more like a standard restaurant. You say you have a party of 4 or whatever, and then they go in and they seat you somewhere. You might get seated with somebody else or whatever, because they're just trying to get everybody in to get them fed and then get you out to continue on with your night. Or you can make a reservation while you're booking your cruise. They're going to ask you to want early dining or late dining. I think the early seating is 6:30.
It's 5:30.
5:30 or something like that, and then our seating was 8:30. We always take the later seating for dining. It's just how we like to eat, and with that comes a couple of negatives. Like we really never get to see any of the shows or anything like that, because the shows are always at a time where it's like while we're eating dinner. So, but we always don't really want to run back to the ship just because we have to eat dinner at 5:30. So sometimes we stay in port until about a half hour before the ship leaves. That being said, Mika had a couple issues with the food in the main dining room, I would say, right? Like, she always found something to eat, but it was a lot of...
My opinion, a lot of times they have decent food. And then there is that one ingredient that they have to shove in there that doesn't belong, that messes up the entire plate, the entire item. You know what I mean? The entree, and it can be something simple like mushrooms, because I don't eat mushrooms. There's
a lot of things Mika doesn't eat, so go ahead.
There aren't, but it could be, a great chicken dish, mashed potatoes and vegetables, and then it's some sort of, let's stuff the chicken with mushrooms and
cranberries or something.
Like,
I'll eat that shit, but like Mika's not eating that.
There was pasta one night, and it was like a pasta bolognese, but let's shove veal in there too. I don't eat veal. Like it was just, there's good selections, but then let's throw that one item in there that just destroys the whole thing.
And again, like the way the menu is structured, there are usually 4 or 5 things that change every night. And then there are like 3 things that are on the menu all the time. Like on our cruise,
salmon, chicken, and steak.
A salmon, a chicken, and a steak. And they're basic. It's like a New York strip steak that you can get done any way you want. And then the salmon is just broiled salmon, and it's just a grilled chicken breast with some vegetables and some potatoes. It's usually a starch, a vegetable, and then a protein that you're going to get with the stuff that you can get every single night. And it's not bad. The quality in the main dining hall, some people say it's no good. That's why they just go to the buffet. I think the quality is a little bit better. Like some people say it isn't worth the wait, because dinner is a full 2 hours when you go and do this. It's, you get a appetizer, then you get your main course, then you get your dessert every single night. And just a tip, if you want 2 different appetizers, you just tell your server you want 2 different appetizers. Or if you want a salad and an appetizer, because the salads and the soups are listed with the appetizers. Like when I'm on vacation, I like to have the soup and a salad, or a salad and an appetizer, or soup and an appetizer. You just tell them. They are able to bring that to you, and they don't charge you anything for it or whatever.
You can get the Caesar salad and escargot, or you can get the French onion and a shrimp cocktail, or you can
do that, and there's no problem. Like they don't give you any, oh, that's going to be an additional charge, or they don't look at you funny or anything like that.
They want you full. They want you happy.
Yeah. Sometimes you might be hungry after, especially if you don't order enough food to eat, right? Mm-hmm. So don't be afraid to order extra. You can even order 2 entrees if you want. We didn't do that this year, but we didn't do that. We typically don't do that, but some people do, and they have no problem doing it. What was your favorite thing you ate on the ship? Do you have a favorite thing you ate on the ship?
On the ship?
Yeah. See that look?
No.
She's being nice. She's not being nice.
No, but my favorite entree, I didn't really... the lobster night was good. We actually had a lobster night on this one, like the Alaska night, and that was good. The lobster was okay.
Yeah, I didn't get lobster that night. I forget what I got. I think I got beef Wellington, because beef Wellington's on the menu that night as well. And that was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't the best thing. Really, the best thing on the menu, the most consistent thing on the menu in the main dining hall is like the French onion soup. Really.
Yeah, the French onion soup is always good.
Yeah,
the Caesar salad's always cold and crisp.
Yeah, salads are always fresh. The soups are always good. Some of the stuff can be a little hit and miss, I think, but there's other options too. The Ocean View Cafe always has pizza and snacks out, like all the way up until like 3 in the morning or something like that. So do you have anything, any spaces inside of the ship that were cool or anything like that? We talked about pretty much the food, embarkation.
We didn't do it this time, but I always enjoy Sushi on 5. We didn't go this time, but it's always nice. It's always good, and I like the way they decorated. It's kind of nice. Yeah,
it's right next to one of the bars. It's like if you're walking to the main dining hall on deck 5. Like if you have a dining reservation, you're on deck 5. If you do anytime dining, you're on deck 4. We literally walk past it pretty much every single day. And it is nice, and we've eaten there a couple of times, and it is always good. So Sushi on 5, if you're looking for, and that's an extra charge. I forget how much it is. It's like an a la carte restaurant that you can do that if you want to change the pace. It's probably good to do that on a sea day or something where you're not hitting a port, you're just on the ship all day. We did eat one night at the Tuscan Grill, which is the
steak place, right?
Well, it's like steak / Italian. They try to cover 2 bases because a lot of bigger ships will have a steakhouse and then they'll have an Italian place. Not good.
No, it was a little disappointing.
Not good, disappointing, and definitely not worth the price because it was not cheap. I think that it used to be like back in the day, if you ate at a premium restaurant, it was like $25 or $30 a person, like an upcharge. This was more than that. I think it was like $60 a person for each of us. So plus like wine. I think he had a glass of wine. I had a beer or 2. So it wound up being like 140, 150, more than that because they added on a tip. It was like 15%, 20% service charge. So very, very disappointing. Celebrity, you got to do better. If you're going to charge people, the food in the main dining was probably better than what we had in the Tuscan Grill. Pasta, like maybe it would have been better if I'd ordered a steak, but I ordered a pasta, and I saw that they had carbonara on their menu, and I love carbonara and I don't eat it very often. So I said, I'm on vacation, I'm gonna get carbonara. And they put cream in the carbonara, and I could tell right away, you do not put cream in carbonara. It throws the taste completely off. It makes it sweet. It doesn't have the body that it's supposed to have. And when I asked the maitre d', or the person who was in charge of, he was very apologetic, and he offered to make me a batch of like real carbonara. But at that point, our meal was pretty much over, and we were looking to, you know, kind of get on with our night. And, you know, I just asked him a question. I said, is this like, these are all like corporate recipes? Like, he goes, yes, this is like how it is. They kind of tell you how to make everything, and you have to follow it. It's a lot cheaper to make carbonara, I think, with cream, but it's not the right way. And if you're not going to do it the right way, then you probably shouldn't have it. That's how I look at it.
But you tasted mine. What did I had some sort of Alfredo or something, and you said it was
the same sauce. It was the exact same thing. It was more or less like an Alfredo sauce. They were trying to pass off the carbonara. But yeah, it was kind of the exact same thing. They're using the same. They probably have like a white sauce, a red sauce, and then like olive oil and garlic sauce that they probably have on their different pastas and stuff back there. And the guy that was sitting like right behind us,
they were upset.
He was livid. He ordered a steak, and he was just like, this is completely like bad.
Absolutely gross. That sauce is dreadful.
Tuscan Grill, or yes, Tuscan Grill. I would tell you, it's not worth the money. Stay away from it. Just wasn't okay. It's good. Like I felt like taken advantage of. Like I'd been scammed. Like after that meal.
Yeah. We got the, what do we have? The meatball appetizer.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that wasn't bad.
Yeah, that wasn't bad. And again, this is like a place where you pay one. It's like one charge, and again, it's not cheap. It's like $59 or maybe $49 a person to eat there, and then you can order whatever you want off of the menu, which is good, but it's not good if it isn't good. I forget what you got.
It was some sort of Alfredo something, but it wasn't good. The noodles were tacky. Like it was supposed to be fresh made pasta, and it was tacky, and it was dry, and the cheese or the sauce wasn't good.
Yeah, just wasn't good. Stay away from the Tuscan Grill. Not worth the money. I wonder what the food is like if you're staying in the Aqua class at they have a special restaurant, Blue. I wondered, I looked at the menu, and some of it looked pretty good, and I just wondered what the quality would be there versus the place that you have to actually pay to go, if it's any better. I have seen videos and people who have eaten at Blue, and they've all said it's been pretty good. But surprisingly, I haven't seen anybody say that the Tuscan Grill is bad, and it is bad. Maybe it's because of where I live that like we have like really good food here. We don't live in like, you know, part of the country that doesn't have like good Italian food or, you know, whatever. So
New York and New Jersey, I mean, there's a lot of Italian ancestry heritage down here too. So it's not Italian, but it is a mix, and they still try to do some of the old. It's
pretty close. You know what I mean? It's pretty close. Like, you know, we know Italian American cuisine is not the same as real authentic cuisine in Italy. We've had real authentic cuisine in Italy, so this wasn't that either. Again, I felt like I was scammed. You know, and is there anything I can do? Anything? I was waiting for him to say, give you like some money off, or maybe I'll charge it. But none of that came. It was like, no, we got your money. We'll just give you more of this crap you don't like if you want it.
Well, they have a lot of activities on the ship. I noticed they had like make your own jewelry. They had, you know, painting. They had, of course, the kids clubs that the little kids, teenagers can go to. They had sports up on the deck. They had pools. They had movies at night. It's all the cool things that you would expect on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
So
how empty do you think that kids club was?
Probably pretty empty. I saw a handful of kids, but there were not many because there were not many young people. on the cruise. So a handful of children.
I saw like 4 to 6 people I would describe as children. There were maybe some late teen type people that got drug along with their parents.
Yeah, there weren't many.
But there weren't many of them either. Not a lot of kids. If you have like a 5 or 6-year-old, and then like a 7-year-old, and you decide to go on a cruise in Europe on this ship, in this itinerary, them kids better like each other because they're probably only going to be playing with each other.
That part's true.
Yeah. So.
I mean, it's not discouraging you from taking your children for some, culture and entertainment. We're not discouraging you at all because our children got drugged everywhere with us. From British Isles to the Mediterranean to the, but on this leg, there are probably not going to be many children on your cruise ship. We did excursions in not every port. We didn't do one in Crete because originally that was supposed to be Volos, and that was my intended beach day because I was under the impression that they had nice beaches, but it turned out to be Crete, and I still didn't book anything, and it rained that day anyway, so I'm glad I didn't really book or try to make a beach day. But we'll get into Crete. And what's the other one? Istanbul. Istanbul, we didn't do any celebrity excursions. We did Istanbul on our own, which I think we saw a lot more. We'll get into that later, but we saw a lot more, did a lot more, got to move at kind of a faster pace, or a pace that we wanted to move at.
Right.
In that respect. But everywhere else, I like to book short excursions. It makes sure that I get to see what I want to see. I actually get to do something. I'm not traipsing around town like, what next? I know what's next. And then once the excursion's over, then we can, either grab lunch or tour the city or go shopping for souvenirs and spend a ton of money. But
the process of doing it with celebrities is pretty simple. It's when you go check into the ship, they have everything in your stateroom. All your tickets are even organized by day.
In an envelope.
Yeah, in an envelope. So you just grab, there's 2 of you just grab the next 2. Tells you where to meet, what time. You better be there at that time because they are very prompt with leaving. So if it says you need to be there at 7:45, you better be there at 7:45.
I would actually be there at 7:30.
Yeah, because they are very prompt. At 7:45, you guys are walking toward the gangway and heading off onto your excursion. There were people that missed excursions. I heard people talking, we were only 5 minutes late and we couldn't get down. No, you need to be on time for these things. They cost a lot of money. If you miss them, they probably don't give you your money back. No. I don't think so. So basically where you meet in the theater. You're going to go down, you're going to hang your ticket to a desk at the spot by the stage, and they're going to give you a couple of stickers. I'm sure you've seen them before if you've been on a cruise. A color and a number, might be purple, and have number 18. And then you're going to go sit down, then they're going to call your number, and it's very quick. They are called group number 18. You guys are going to go out there, go down the steps, and get on the gangway and get on a bus, and they're going to take you where you need to go. When the itinerary is over, they usually bring you right back to the ship, and then from there you can go into town and explore if you have time, or if it's at the end of the day, you get right back on the ship. So pretty easy process for that. The only thing I would tell you is, like I said, make sure you're on time.
Because sometimes it's not a bus, sometimes it was a tender. And if you're not with your group when the tender leaves, then
you got it. Actually, what happens then is you have to get in line for the regular tender, which can be a while, especially depending on what time. Because usually the line is in the morning. If you wait a little bit longer, you can get down there pretty easy. But in the first thing in the morning, when you pull in a tender port, usually it's a half hour, 40 minutes wait, I think, to get off of the ship and onto the tender to go in. That being said, we only had a couple of tender ports, but we did have a tender port where we were taking a trip, and they had a whole separate tender that just took excursion guests. So we were able to get to shore a lot quicker than people who didn't book excursions could. They're very efficient process. I would say just my overall recommendations, check prices on both. Like there are like TripAdvisor, Travelocity, any of those sites you can book pretty much shore excursions. If you're on a cruise that's through them instead of the cruise line, I always say to check both. But if the savings isn't really significant, just book through the cruise line. It's easier. You're guaranteed not to miss the ship.
Yeah, because if you don't make it back and you're on a Viator trip, you don't make it back before the ship leaves, the ship is leaving you. If you're on a trip, an excursion through the cruise line, and you don't make it back on time, the ship waits for that excursion to get back.
Yeah.
So be aware.
So yeah, just closing thoughts on the ship. It's an older ship. You can definitely tell if you've been cruising around the Caribbean on some of these new monster ships that have different neighborhoods on them. You can definitely tell it's like an older style of cruising, a more traditional style of cruising, not as much flair. The customer service is always going to be there. A little bit older of a crowd because again, these cruises are a little bit more expensive than you know what a 4-day cruise out of Miami costs. So you're going to see some older people there, retired people from other parts of the world. But yeah, it's an older ship, very classy ship. Good amenities, everything is clean on the ship. The crew is really nice crew. Didn't run into anybody that kind of had an attitude or anything like that, which is pretty rare, I guess, on a cruise anyway. I don't think I've ever had an experience with someone who was like a jerk, like it was a staff member, right? So just pretty much par for the course. Would definitely recommend. Take the Celebrity Infinity. Ship's probably got a lot of more good years left in it.